Welcome back to the deep dive. We're jumping right in today with something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
An app. But not just any app, one that's all about boosting your brain power while, actually being fun.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
We know you're looking for those aha moments, ways to get smart insights without getting bogged down. And I think this dive might just deliver that.
Sounds good. Because let's face it, in this flood of information we live in, tools that genuinely help sharpen our thinking, they're incredibly valuable. And
Exactly.
today we're looking at all-in-one games. It's sort of positioned as this brain training playground. The sources we looked at cover its features, but also the practical side of things.
Right. So, our mission today. Let's unpack what this app actually is, and more importantly, how it works on those cognitive skills, and maybe why it could be, a genuinely useful thing to add to your day.
Whether you want a serious mental workout or just something fun to do.
Precisely. Okay, let's get into it. So, the core idea, all in one, games, it's pretty literal, right? It bundles 8 different puzzles, one app. And the promise is basically sharpen your mind, improve cognitive skills, and have endless entertainment, like a little gym for your brain.
Yeah, and what's interesting from a cognitive training angle is that it seems quite deliberate.
How so?
Well, these aren't just like random fun games thrown
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Each one is apparently designed to target different cognitive skills,
Yeah.
which, brings up the question, what kind of skills are we actually talking about here?
Yeah, and that's where it gets really interesting. The range is pretty wide. It's almost like cognitive cross-training.
Okay.
Let's take a look. For memory and concentration, for instance, there's Mind Guru.
Right, the classic memory match game. Flip cards, find pairs.
Exactly. Seems simple, but that act of remembering where things are, it actively works your short-term memory and helps you focus, filter distractions.
And building on that memory idea, there's math match, which is kind of clever. It mixes memory with arithmetic.
How does that work?
You have to match numbers with the math expressions they equal. So you're doing the math, but also holding the numbers and their locations in your visual memory. Makes math feel a bit more intuitive,
I see. Less like homework.
hopefully. And then there's quick recall. This one's really direct.
Okay.
It flashes numbers at you briefly. You have to type them back in. It's a straight-up workout for short-term memory and just how fast you process things. Cognitive speed.
Got it. Okay, so that's memory. What about logic and problem solving?
Yep, they've got that covered too. Tile puzzle is in there.
The sliding tile thing where you make a picture?
Exactly that. And while you're sliding tiles, you're actually improving spatial awareness, thinking logically about sequences of moves, planning ahead, adjusting,
Right, it's more than just pushing squares around.
definitely. And then for something maybe a bit more abstract, logically speaking, there's some grid puzzle.
Some grid. Haven't heard of that one.
It blends arithmetic and logic. You get a grid, and you have to select or maybe remove numbers so that each row and column adds up to a target value.
Ah, okay, so it's like Sudoku, but with sums.
Sort of, yeah. It really pushes your mathematical reasoning, your strategic thinking. You're looking for patterns, deducing possibilities. It trains that kind of logic.
Okay, interesting.
What else? Then we move into perception and attention.
All right.
Schulte Table. This is a classic. You basically have a grid of numbers, usually 1 to 25, scrambled, and you just have to find and tap them in order as fast as you can.
Sounds simple, but I bet it's harder than it looks.
It is, and it's fantastic for improving visual search speed, peripheral vision, and just overall attention and concentration. Skills that help with reading quickly, absorbing info.
Yeah, I can see that. And perception.
For that, there's Hue Hunt. This one's pretty unique.
Okay.
It tests your color perception. You get a list of color words like red, blue, green, but they're written in different colors. You have to quickly find the word that's written in its own color.
Oh, wow. So if the word blue is actually written in blue ink, you tap that one.
Exactly. It forces your brain to focus on the color attribute and ignore the word itself, or vice versa, depending on the task. Great for visual discrimination and selective attention.
That sounds surprisingly tricky. Okay, one more category.
Yeah, sort of mathematical thinking and reaction time. There's a game called Odd or Even.
Simple premise.
Very simple. Numbers appear, you quickly tap whether they're odd or even.
Ah, just speed and basic number sense.
Exactly. It sharpens that immediate number recognition and boosts reaction time. Good for quick mental math, useful for kids and adults, quick decisions under a bit of time pressure.
So when you look at all 8 of these games together,
Yeah, what's really fascinating, I think, is just the sheer breadth. how many different cognitive areas they touch on in just one free app.
Right.
It's not just memory drills or just logic puzzles. It's memory, logic, perception, attention, math, speed. It's like that cross-training idea you mentioned, hitting different parts of the brain.
Keeps things fresh, maybe prevents you from just getting good at one thing.
Exactly. It aims for a more, maybe holistic boost, challenging different pathways, building a more sort of adaptable cognitive function. That seems to be the key idea.
And when the sources talk about why you'd choose this app, why all-in-one games,
Mm.
they mention a few things.
Mm.
The diverse challenges, obviously, which we just covered, but also that it's genuinely fun and engaging.
Which is important, right? If it feels like a chore, you won't stick with it. Brain training needs consistency.
True. They also mention a user-friendly interface for all ages, which is good for accessibility, and they say there are regular updates.
Which suggests the developer is, actively maintaining it, maybe adding things over time.
But let's get into some of those practical details then. Who actually makes it?
Okay, yeah. The App Store details list the developer as Alparslan Tapas.
Right, and the cost.
It's listed as free, which honestly for 8 different types of games is pretty good.
Definitely. And compatibility. Who can run this?
It looks like it's built for the Apple ecosystem. So iPhone, iPad, Mac, but specifically Macs with the Apple M1 chip or later, and even Apple Vision. Needs fairly recent operating systems like iOS 17 or later.
And is it a huge app? Does it take up much space?
Surprisingly, no. It's listed at just 18.1 megabytes. Very small.
Wow, okay. Age rating.
Age rating is 4+ DRAC, so basically suitable for everyone, content-wise.
And languages. You mentioned updates added some.
Yeah, it's got pretty broad support. English, French, German, Hindi, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Russian, simplified Chinese, Spanish, and Turkish.
That's quite a list.
And yeah, that last update, version 1.0.3 back in September 2024, specifically added Japanese and Korean along with bug fixes, so it shows recent activity.
Okay. And the unavoidable question these days? Privacy.
Right. So the App Store listing has the standard privacy nutrition label. It mentions some data might be used to track you across other companies' apps, things like location identifiers, usage data, diagnostics.
Standard stuff for ads or analytics? Often.
Pretty much. And similar categories listed as data linked to you. There's also data not linked to you, which is just diagnostics. It looks like, fairly standard disclosures for a free, possibly ad-supported or analytics-using app. Nothing immediately alarming jumps out.
Okay. Good to know. So wrapping this all up, what does this actually mean for you listening?
Well, I think it means all in one. Games comes across as a surprisingly complete package.
Yeah.
It seems like an accessible, easy way to get some genuine mental exercise and some entertainment. It gives you a way to challenge different parts of your brain quickly without it feeling like, heavy lifting.
And without needing multiple different apps or complex programs.
Exactly. It seems to bring quite a bit together in one place.
So, reflecting on all this, it really is about convenience, isn't it?
I think so. A convenient, integrated way to nudge various cognitive skills, memory, logic, perception, math, all bundled together, easy to use. It kind of lowers the barrier to entry for brain training.
Which leads us to maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Could fitting just say 5 or 10 minutes of these kinds of varied exercises into your day, maybe on your commute or a coffee break, could those small, consistent, maybe even enjoyable bursts actually make a subtle but real difference to your overall mental sharpness? Could it, maybe boost how you learn or process things day to day in ways you might not expect?
Something to think about.
Indeed. Until our next deep dive.